where we build business, create community, find freedom, and share success. It's Sunday night, which means it's time for one of my favorite segments of the week, Talking Tools. So if you guys are one of the ones watching this on the replay, one of the millions, thanks for dropping by. And if you're here tonight to have a chat with us and listen, I'm going to share with you guys all of my backup battery systems, or at least my rechargeable battery systems. So sorry about that, I had a little feedback. But anyway, so I posted a poll tonight, guys, to see what the temperature was in your area. We finally got way below. It was like 65 was the high today, which was awesome. I got out and did some siding, but we'll talk about that later. So anyway, this week I wanted to share with you guys, let's see if we can adjust this just a little bit there, my rechargeable battery setup. You guys know I'm huge into preparedness, of course, and backup power is always important to me. And the thing that we use the most around the house is batteries. And these right here, I'm going to share with you a little bit about my setup, but that's kind of how I keep everything organized. But the most important thing, of course, when the power's out is to find backup sources of power. So if you have a good storage of recharged batteries, maybe power tool batteries, of course a generator, all of that stuff is great. But tonight I wanted to focus on what I have, what I use. You know the old 2 is 1, 1 is none, and 3 is a guarantee. Well, you'll see my 3 different battery chargers, and maybe it'll give you some ideas of things that you might need or want to use. So first off, the batteries themselves. So my main ones, you guys know, are my Eneloop batteries, and that is these guys right here. Those are the 1900 milliamp hour white Eneloops, and these are the black high capacity 2450 Eneloop batteries. The big thing, as you guys may or may not know, is to look for made in Japan. The made in Japan Eneloops are the better quality, the higher capacity, the ones that have been, and I believe from what I understand, hey sweetie, Charlie's in tonight. Thanks for dropping by, sweetheart. And from my understanding, the batteries out of Japan are the ones that have stood the test of time, and those are the ones we're looking for. So recently ran into some information, and you guys have probably heard this before. These are the Lada rechargeable batteries from IKEA, and supposedly they are exactly the same. Now, we're going to do some comparison tests down the road and whatnot, but they're 2450 milliamps and they're made in Japan, and apparently there's only one factory in Japan that makes these. So, you know, anyway, for 25% the cost of what these Eneloops are, it may just be something to look into, but I'm going to touch on that down the road. So as far as how I keep them organized, well, you know, I keep them in my nightstand table. The kids know where the rechargeables are because they're always after me for Xbox controllers, but you know, that sort of thing. We need batteries for flashlights, headlamps, use them for my gadgets out in the garage. I've got a sound monitor. What else do we have? Well, basically the sound monitor, my stud finders, my laser levels, all of that. And they all require power. So what better way than to have rechargeables so you're not throwing them out and wearing them out all the time. So this is the organizing case. I'll put links up afterwards, guys, if you see anything and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, Tim. Or even better, if you guys have something better that you use, I'd love to see recommendations, because you know me, I'm always looking for review videos. But this is a hard, soft-sided case, if that makes sense. So it'll survive a fall, but it's cushioned and padded. It has these knockouts. I looked for something that was only AA and AAA because that's all I keep around. It holds quite a bit. I've got quite a few more than these, but this is the extras I have right now. This one came with one of these chintzy little chargers, but you know what? They absolutely work. Let's see if I can show you one-handed here. So there we are. That's all it is. It's an analog battery tester. Now I would like to, so if anybody you guys out there have a suggestion, I'd love to find a digital, you know, an actual tester for rechargeable batteries that end up showing me a digital readout of the actual voltage. This is pretty good, but it's one of them things, it's like, sometimes you look at it, I'll show you there, you can never quite tell what's good, what's bad, somewhere in between. So it's nice to have, I'd love to have something that give me a little more accurate reading. So if you guys have any suggestions for that, that would be great. So of course, we've got rechargeable batteries. One other type of battery I keep in the back of my kit are these 2032s. I may even do a video on these guys down the road, but everything runs off these now. All those little kitchen gadgets, that sort of thing. My digital meat thermometer runs off this. My digital kitchen scale runs off these. And in a pinch, the 2040s are also interchangeable. So if you guys see that, there they are right there. I just buy a bulk pack from Amazon and they last a long time. Apparently, I seen an article the other day. We're going to end up having atomic, thank you, lovely batteries. They're actually working on these tiny little batteries that are going to use a microscopic amount of atomic waste that as it breaks down will power these small, very low drain devices for years, decades, and even centuries. So once that comes, they'll come built in and we may not need that kind of stuff. But until then, here we are. We need backup power. So where did I start? Well, I want to show you guys this one first. These are the old little plug-in wall chargers. They take about 4 hours to charge a battery. When I first started, I had the green Duracells. They were great, but they just didn't have the lasting capacity, the lasting power of the Eneloops. So I switched over, but I had a charger like this. This one ended up coming, I don't want to say free because it wasn't free, but it come included in my Eneloop Black Pro kit that I bought not long ago from Costco. Really nice kit. It's a good entry level if you're looking for a way to enter the Eneloop Pro market that isn't absolutely outrageously expensive. And my lovely wife, of course, she's awesome. She's the one, she goes, honey, look, they've got your black Eneloops on the Costco website. She said, I'm going to order you some. And of course, she always supports us for our backup power preparedness, that kind of stuff. So she ended up helping me order that kit, and this is what came in it. So this is what I started with, were just these little tiny plug-in-the-wall chargers. They take like 4 hours, and they hold 4 batteries, and they're not too bad. Hey, Joseph! Your ears must have been burning. No, I wasn't really talking about you yet, but I'm going to. I got you in my notes for later on. And I can almost guarantee, I don't know if Joseph saw the poll or not, but I'll bet you it was above, actually I have inside information to know that it was above 90 degrees there today. That our little conversation on Messenger earlier was what set up my poll tonight. But anyway, so if you're just getting started, you're looking for an inexpensive charger, something of a brand name, these are really good. They just flat in the back, plug them in. They're slow as the dickens. They're slow as all get out. See if we can adjust that just a little bit there, guys. There we are. But they do the trick. They put a charge back in your battery. So then if you want to get into something a little more substantial, I bet you Joseph was out mowing today. He never stops. He's way worse than I am. But like I said, got to make hay while the sun shines. When it gets cold, things will slow down for us. But so here was the first charger. That was just a plug in the wall. And then we moved up to the prepper's best friend, and that's this Powerex Maha Energy Charger. Hey, Chicken Hawk! Yes, I know you love Eneloop. I figured I'd get everybody in tonight because we're talking about Eneloop. But so this was the next charger I ended up going with. It's a digital, but it doesn't have a lot of special functions or features on it, but it does the trick. It'll charge eight batteries in any combination, AA's, AAA's. You can have 1, 2, 3, all the way up. Doesn't matter what order you put them in about an hour. Love this thing. It does a quick charge in an hour and gives you, I think, about 90% capacity, or it'll do a slow deep charge and it will make sure she never skips the ads. Thank you. Or you can do a deep charge where it goes slow and puts the full capacity back in your battery. So this is a really nice one. They're a little on the expensive side, but I have noticed that Powerex, or Maha, whatever you want to call it, has been starting to come out with upgraded, better chargers for the cost. Now, my absolute biggest pet peeve with this guy is the charger port. It looks like an old-fashioned serial MOS adapter. And if you want to replace this, you've got to go back to Maha Energy, or Powerex, whatever you want to call it, which is fine. But you know what I'm like with cords. I tend to forget them or cut them or lose them. And there's nothing worse than having a proprietary cord that you got to go back to the company and pick up. So that's the only downside if you're looking for a top-notch, prepper rated charger for your AA, AAA batteries. This is the guy to go. Model number is the MHC800S, and this has been one that's been recommended on TSP and a bunch of different places for ages. And then I decided, of course, since I didn't have enough chargers and I wanted something a little fancier that could do a little more number crunching and some more features, I just picked up this beaut here. Got more drinking to do at the Tiki Bar. I'll catch you all on the next one. Have a good night, Ted. I've got my keto-friendly 5% peach vodka soda here tonight. So I don't know if this is a Canadian-only thing, but it's got a funny name, Nude. But it's surprisingly tasty. It's not bad. So here's the other one, guys. This is the other charger, just as fast. Downside is it only takes 4 batteries, but it's a lot more in-depth. So what I picked this guy up for, night Ted, thanks for dropping by. I love seeing you. You guys should have seen the video he posted earlier. He's down at a resort right now, and it's nice. So this guy has a charge, a break-in, a discharge, and a refresh analyze mode on it. And the reason I picked this guy up was for the discharge mode. So you can put regular alkaline batteries in there, or when I decide to do the, let's see if the IKEA batteries are every bit as good as Eneloop batteries, you can put your batteries in this sucker and it will drain them bone dry and tell you the exact capacity that was in them. There's a little bit of technical know-how. It's not that bad, but once you get used to the settings on it, it'll tell you exactly how much charge was in the battery and how much it was able to suck out of it. So you might think, well, what the hell good is it, a charger that takes charge out of a battery? Well, like I said, it'll let you know how your life cycle is holding up on the rechargeable batteries, but it also will tell you, hey, you know what? Those Sunbeam batteries that I buy at Dollar Tree, 4 for $1.25, because in Canada, our dollar isn't worth as much. And if anybody else noticed Dollar Tree lately, they took off their sign. I guess in the States, of course, it's everything under $1, but up here, it's everything under $1.25. They took that down and now they've started putting higher prices on things. So whatever, inflation, right? But so yeah, if you're looking for a higher end charger that will tell you a little more about what your batteries are doing and supposedly can bring back to life batteries that are absolutely stone dead and no other charger can touch them, this guy will do it. And he is the, where is it? The MHC 9000 Pro. Again, once this video re-uploads after it's processing whatever it is that YouTube does, I'll put links so everybody can see them. And a while back, I asked the community about 9-volt batteries, looking for something that's rechargeable, and I wasn't really sure which way to go with them. I ended up settling on this guy right here. This is the EBL 9-volt battery charger. It's kind of cool. I haven't even had it out to test it yet, but the batteries are right there, totally rechargeable. And from what I've been told, rechargeable 9-volt batteries do not work well in smoke detectors, and that was my big thing. So I also have stud finders and a laser thermometer. All of those take these 9-volt batteries. I wanted to stay away from these damn things the best I could, and I couldn't. So I ended up getting these. They're supposed to be really good in those type of drain devices, just not great in smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors. So I think I'll end up having to keep some maybe Amazon Basics or something on hand for those. But this guy runs just off of a normal USB mini or micro cable. So we'll give it a shot. Definitely going to see a review on this guy down the road, but it was time. I kept getting these little gadgets that had 9-volt batteries in them, and it was time to expand the charging capability. So there we are. So what else do I have for rechargeables that I wanted to show you? Like I said, we've got, so coming up pretty soon, we're going to do a roundup of, we got the white and black Eneloops, the Ladas from IKEA, and these are the high capacity Amazon Basics rechargeable batteries. So we're going to basically see how well do they hold up to the capacity ratings they say, cost per battery. We'll do a comparison and we'll see what ends up being the best choice, the best price. I'm sure I'll end up sticking with my Eneloops because I've already invested $4 a battery Canadian in most of these, and they're going to last forever. But hopefully maybe we can help some people save some money down the road, especially somebody who's just looking to get into rechargeable batteries and, you know, have a little bit of stored power on hand just in case we have a blackout, a power emergency, whatever it happens to be. But, you know, any of this information I can throw along to other people makes me absolutely happy. Chicken Hawk, if you're still in here, I know you did a video not long ago on your Harbor Freight solar power setup, And I'm definitely looking for a recommendation to do a review on. The downside, of course, being no harbor freight in Canada, but I'd love to have something that could power, and I'm kind of throwing this whole idea out here because I haven't really maybe worked it all around in my brain yet, but I'm looking for a solar charger or a solar panel setup that in a a long-term power outage kind of situation, a feller could run your battery chargers off of and get juice back into your AA's and AAA's. So if, Chicken Hawk, if you've got a recommendation or if anybody else has seen something that you really like, point me in the right direction. I'll give it a try. We'll give it a shot. A couple of tips on my rechargeable batteries, things that I use when I'm, just to keep them organized. Number one, this is it's an old man thing. My kids like it. But if you see, so any of the dead batteries, I put them in upside down. When I get 8, I run it through. I figure it saves me from having to have to put like 4 or 5 in the charger, even though it'll take it. I got enough that I can handle keeping a few dead ones in there, but I keep them upside down so I know. And the other thing that I do, because the batteries are so damned expensive, for almost $4 a battery at this point, whenever I give one to my kids or I put one in one of my wife's devices or I put it somewhere, I keep a notepad on my phone and I say, okay, this is where the battery went. This is the date it went in there. And then I have an idea, well, I know where my batteries are at any time because I think I've got over 100 of them. And what's the sense in having a whole bunch of AA, AAA rechargeable batteries if you don't use them? So you don't know if they work, you don't know how they work. So you might as well have them, have the kids using them, have the wife using them, have me using them so that we know what works, how well they work, and we can work the bugs out long before we ever may need them in an emergency. So I keep a list on my phone of where all the batteries go, and you can, point and laugh and call me an old man for all you want but it's a big expense and I want to keep track of them. So, if anybody else wants to steal that tip, feel free. So that was a quick overview. I might do a more in-depth video, maybe a 3 or 4 part series on Saturdays of my rechargeable system and setup and that sort of thing, if there's definitely a call for it. A lot of my weekend workshop videos are starting to come in as recommendations from you guys in the community. The blackout bag video did really well this weekend. It trended a lot better than most of my videos. And so the emergency preparedness videos seem to be doing really well. If you guys like them, obviously I'll keep doing more. I enjoy doing them. That's one of the things I like talking about, of course. So yeah, you'll definitely see more of those. My generator videos seem to be doing good. For simple, oh, here we go. For simple, and all you'd have to add is an inverter. It would work very good for that, in my opinion. I use my bigger setup to keep all my power tool battery. Yes, sir. So Chicken Hawk, does it, it's been a while since I watched it, but so does it feed into like a big 12-volt battery and then you can just slap an inverter onto it and charge from there? I'm probably answering my own question, but if that is the case, I was pretty sure that's how it's set up. So I know Amazon has some. I may have to do some digging. The missus and I we want to go to the States shopping in the worst way, but as of right now, our border, how's it work? Our border is open for us to come back, but your guys' border isn't open for us to go to Montana. All right, cool. Thanks, Hawk. I thought so, but I wanted to make sure. So yes, that is basically it. So I'm going to look into that setup, and maybe that'll be one of the things I'll pick up. I also want to get one of those Predator generators. I hope my wife's not watching tonight because I really don't need any more generators, but I would love to pick one of theirs up to do a head-to-head with some of my stuff. Plus, again, 2 is 1, 1 is none, and 3 is a guarantee. I had to sell 1 generator, so I didn't have 3 anyway. So, but yeah, I'll check that out. And I think Crappy Tire, as you guys know, I call them Canadian Tire. They have some of the Coleman setups up here, and the price isn't too bad on them. They're pretty reasonable. I'm going to give them a shot, maybe. We'll see. And if I get the right price on something, maybe I'll pull the trigger sooner. But if the borders will ever open for us to get down there, Cheap RV Living on YouTube. Yes. I'll check that out, John. I've watched their channel before, and I'll go back and check some of that stuff out because I'm definitely looking for and I don't want it to be expensive. Like a lot of the stuff I do reviews on, I want it to be at least accessible to everybody. And I don't know why the light keeps changing in here, guys. Sorry about that. It's something to do with the sensor in the phone, but anyway. But yeah, in that $200-300 range to get started, just for a basic solar backup, because again, it's good to have a backup to a backup to a backup to at least, so then, I've got all my batteries stored with a charge in them. with chargers, have them all ready to go. And of course, at some point, if you have to drain them all, I mean, this would be a long-term situation, so it's not something that's super likely, but I certainly would love to have a solar setup, something that I could use maybe on a semi-regular basis as well. I'd like to figure out some day-to-day uses because I hate buying something that's just strictly to have just in case. I'd rather have something that I can use on a regular basis, because to me it seems like a bit of a waste of money if you're buying it for down the road. And that's just me, whatever, no big deal. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm heading. I don't know if what brand do you guys, I know where Hawk stands on this one, but what brand do you guys use for your rechargeable batteries? Again, Eneloop has been kind of in the prepper community for a long time. They're well known. I know some people are starting to really swear by the Amazon Basics rechargeables. But yeah, if you guys, anyone out there has a suggestion for maybe a third or fourth brand that you'd like me to do a head-to-head on, I'll gladly do it, because yeah, batteries are fun. I bought that nice new fancy charger that I got to run through its paces. So I'd love to be able to do a bunch of different videos on different types of batteries and that sort of thing. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on batteries for this week. I'll go more in depth down the road. I wanted to start another segment, another new segment. I've been really trying hard, guys, to spotlight different members in the community. And I know if you guys saw last week, Monday's Money Making Minute, say that 10 times fast, was Ryan Collette. Yeah, he did a little guest review, which was really cool. And this week I wanted to, some of the different community members that we have are content creators as well. So I wanted to highlight a few of their videos that they did this week, some things that I learned from them. I guess all of this came about from, it turns out I like learning about, I'm glad you like learning about batteries too, Charlie. Oh, I used your real name. Anyway, so if you guys haven't watched Joseph's new video on AirTags, does it say BBL batteries? I'm going to claim ignorance on that one, Hawk. I'm going to have to look them up, because I would, yeah, absolutely looking for different brands to try out. Bell. Okay, right on. So yeah, if you guys haven't watched Joseph's video on, and I think these are right, they're called Apple AirTags. They're incredible. I had no idea what they did. So, and it's just a short video. It's like a 7 or 8 minute video. So take a minute and watch that from him, because I've got all kinds of ideas for videos. See, Joseph, I tell you, you get me motivated and started on things, but I got to pick up a 4-pack of them, and I want to test those guys out. I had no idea. They work on kind of that. Of course, they all run on Bluetooth, but what the Apple AirTags have, and I don't want to spoil it, but they work on kind of a mesh network, and they will automatically upload to the network anytime they're in the distance of an Apple iPhone. And in this day and age, when are you not within Bluetooth range of an Apple iPhone, even in my small little town? So I'm not going to ruin any more of Joseph's video, but check that out. I thought it was cool. Another one I shared this week, if you guys don't know Amy Dingman, she does the Farmer's Kind of Life podcast. Incredible. Her and her husband and their 2 homeschool, almost grown-up boys at this point, have a homestead in Minnesota. Check out their stuff. She did a real good ranty video on why places can't find workers right now. And basically she boiled it down. Well, there's a lot of stuff, and it's worth watching, but the whole idea was people are used to being home now. They love being home. They've learned, hey, maybe I can be a little more independent as an entrepreneur. Sorry, audit. Oh, that's okay. And, but yeah, basically people love being home. They realize, hey, some of us can survive on one income. More importantly, people are realizing, hey, we can be more independent, make our own money, not be beholden to what other people force on us and that sort of thing. So check that one out. I really enjoyed that. This one was from a couple weeks ago, but if you guys haven't seen Chicken Hawk's little fuel storage cart, it reminded me of what Joseph did. He posted on social not long ago. He bought one of those, I think it was a Rubbermaid janitor's cart, something like that. Anyway, Chicken Hawk's is a metal cart, but he stores all of his 5-gallon jugs of gas on it. So check that out. It's real simple. I love simple solutions, and it was just absolutely accurate. Not accurate, what's the word I'm looking for? Just, it was simple, and it did what it was supposed to do. It elevated the gas, it made it mobile, and it allowed you to fuel up. It was basically a mobile fueling station made out of a janitor cart, but check it out. It was really cool. And then I don't think Greg's in here tonight, But if you guys, I know Greg Arcade was in here last week. He is just the most incredible country singer. I don't know why he doesn't have a bigger following on YouTube, but he stumbled across me on Float a few months ago, and we've just kind of hit it off. We've chatted a lot. He's a fellow Canadian content creator, but he's a musician. So check him out on YouTube. But he just put out a new original song called When the Dust Dies Down, and it's awesome. So check it out. Like I love throwing all of your guys' stuff out there. It's awesome. How else are we going to grow as a community but by sharing each other's stuff? So if you guys don't subscribe to everybody else out there and it's something you're interested in, check it out. And I don't know anybody who follows me on social, but if you happen to see my homemade Hornet contraption, I was out again last night. This was something again that was, we put it together. It was a group think project last year, I think, in the Survival Podcast Facebook forum, back when it was still a big growing concern. And I asked everybody, I'm like, I need to get rid of a whole bunch of Hornets. What do I do? What do I use? Where do I start? And, you know, we basically put a whole bunch of different ideas together, and I settled on this great big high-powered shop vac that I have with a 12-foot length ABS pipe, and then I fill the bottom with 4 inches of water and a bunch of Dawn dish detergent. And the thing works like the thing works like a charm. It just gets in there and it literally sucks the life out of out of the hornet's nest. You know, I had a few people that are like, "Oh, why do you use spray?" And I'm like, you know why I use spray? Because I'm the one jumping in there on a hornet's nest. If you guys don't like spray, I'm okay with that. But I'm going in there. I'm going to buy the strongest knockdown stuff I can get because I'm getting paid to be there. And I dealt with 2 nests last night. One was in a wall and it sucked. I had to go back twice to treat that because it's in a rental I deal with. So I had to actually pull the wall board off and get in there and kill it. So it was, yeah, it was really cool. So if you guys want to see more on that, I may even do a little video. I did one last year. I called it, I think it was the Jackass, Johnny Knoxville would be proud or something like that. The Jackass method for removing hornets. But if you're looking for something that'll allow you to get something, you know what's cool about it too, is that last year we were able to use it up on the peak of a roof for 2 different houses. One was on the peak and one was under the eaves. So you can actually stand on the ground and suck that hornet's nest at a safe distance and basically be able to do it and, yeah, not worry about it. But, you know, it takes me 10 minutes. I charge $100 per nest to remove it. I would love to do more of them this year, but it's worth it. It's worth it for the customer who you suck those nests away and they don't have to deal with it. And it's worth it for me because I'm willing to take a bit of a risk for a reasonable pay for something that doesn't take that long once you're set up. But you got to build the contraption first, which isn't difficult, and then get out there and get comfortable being around bees and hornets. Haven't got stung yet, excuse me, in 4 nests that I've done with this contraption. But I did earlier this year. I was doing some pole saw trimming with my DeWalt, and I just must have went over an underground nest or a nest somewhere, and all of a sudden I was getting stung, and it didn't feel great, but you get used to it. And you guys, I'm sure we've talked about this before, but if you haven't noticed, shortages in the stores. I know Joseph, maybe a month or 2 ago, had mentioned caulking and sealants and stuff was a huge shortage. Well, in our area, right now, you cannot find a can of spray that'll kill a hornet or a wasp anywhere. We have been hot and dry like most of the continent, so there's been a huge demand for whatever reason. Hornets and wasps have built their nests way more. They're just everywhere this year, and nobody can seem to find the spray. And of course, there's also a shortage on it, so there's a bigger demand, and most of the hardware stores that I've been to can't even refill their orders. So what's happening is once it gets sold out, they can't replenish it. So we got a 1-2 whammy there, of course, back from before with all the shutdowns. They didn't make a lot of it. Then things got held up in shipping, and now there's a huge demand for it, and it's kind of like the lumber situation. And speaking of lumber, I don't know if you guys have seen, but prices are coming down a little. 2x4s are down in like the $6 range now from a high of like 11. So that's something. Most of it hasn't moved yet, and I'll bet you a lot of it isn't because it's just sitting. Nobody's buying it because the price is so high. They're not bringing in new inventory. So we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be a game of chicken, or where you stand there and stare at each other until one gives, and then finally the price drops a little more. But you know, So yeah, if you guys are looking for a cool little contraption, my Hornet's Nest contraption, totally not patented whatsoever. So give it a shot if you want to. What else do I have coming up this week? Yes. So if you guys, I believe it'll be Tuesday this week, you should see me, or at least hear me on TSP. Going to be on there as an interview show. I'm not sure if it'll be Tuesday, but sometime this week. So keep an eye out on that. I won't give away what I'm talking about, but it's kind of cool. So I'm excited to get back on there and have an hour of chat with Jack. That'll be a lot of fun. Going to get out tomorrow and finish. If you guys have been following me on social, I've been working on a fairly substantial sod job. Basically did it all by myself. I went up to the nursery to pick up the sod. It was 650 square feet. I thought last year I'd picked up that same amount. I got there, buddy loaded up my truck, and it was way too heavy, way too heavy. So I moved things around. I put some sod in the front seat with me and balanced things out a bit, and it worked. Anyway, I got it home, unloaded it all, put it all down, and I don't know what in the hell I did, but I somehow overestimated the amount of sod I needed by about 20%. Now, sod's one of those things, if you've ever worked with it, if you have, you can use almost every single piece you have because you can just cut it and piece it into place and set it down. But I don't know how I ended up with about 200 extra square feet that I used in my backyard because I just didn't need it. So, measure twice and order once. But yeah, the weight was more than my Dodge Ram should have had. I should have taken my trailer with me, but I thought from the year before I'd ordered the same amount, but I think looking back, it was probably more like 400 or 450 square feet. But, it made it home. It didn't die, or I didn't break the suspension or anything. And I got out today and worked on some siding. If you guys have been following me there, the house is coming along really good. So I just want to say, if you guys are ever scared of taking on a new skill, a new task that you've never done before, do it. My wife is my biggest encourager, and I love her to death because I will tell her all the time, I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And she's like, damn well you can. Stop selling yourself short, Tim, because I do that. I really am good at selling myself short sometimes. And so I just brought it on myself. I'm like, I've never done vinyl siding before. Frig it. I'm going to learn how to do vinyl siding. So I went to university, the YouTube university, watched a bunch of videos, learned a metric shit ton of tips and tricks, and watched other people's failures and that sort of thing. Started on my garage, started on a wall that didn't matter. By the time I had the garage done, I was comfortable enough to do the house. And now I'm almost done 3/4 of my entire house. The hardest wall's done already. I'm going to probably save 10 grand on this job when I'm all done because I did it myself. Super excited about it. And I feel empowered now that if I wanted to do a job for another customer, I would do it. It would come down to, how difficult, how tall the house is, that sort of thing. But that being said, I have added a ton of new skills to my repertoire, to my skill toolbox that I can now take and use in other places. And you do laminate flooring and you learn the skill of, okay, my offcut here goes over here. My offcut here goes over here. Works the same way with siding. So you can apply a lot of what you already know, but doing all of these, some of the cool things I've learned is, how to take J-trim and, excuse me, there we go, Pepsi Max. How to go around a window with J-trim, that's been really cool. And the best part has been learning how to cut the gable ends. Maybe I'll do a 1-minute video on that. Basically, take a square piece of siding, click it into the level below it, slide it over till it hits the angle, measure that bottom piece, and you've got your, you come in, put your dash there, and now you have where you mark your angle and cut it off. And it's to the point now where when I cut siding, I know pretty damn close. I'm going to know where it is. And the cool thing about siding is it's pretty forgiving. If you end up overcutting something, just cut it off and reuse it in another spot. But yeah, so if anybody is out there thinking, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, maybe there's a real reason. But if you're like me, sometimes you just get a little insecure, you sell yourself short, and you need to realize, wait a minute, I can do this, and I will do this, and I will learn doing it. And now I got a whole new skill set that I can take out there and make some money with. So yeah, just a little encouragement for you guys. So how's everybody else been? I've done all the rambling. I guess it is my channel, so I'm allowed to talk a little bit, right? But what's anybody else worked on this week? I haven't looked at the poll. Let's see what it says. We got, what, 80%? So we had 80% said it was above 90 degrees and 20% said it was below. If you guys want to know something absolutely crazy, we had 5 votes on the poll too, so thanks guys. I actually have leaves down here already. So if you guys want to think, yeah, I know you guys are like, wait a minute, it's just coming on second summer here for where we are. Well, for us, we're coming on fall real quick. I drained the pool today, not because it's not going to be cold enough, but because it just wasn't getting used anymore and it was getting a little gungy. So we decided to drain that. But it's almost like when we flick a switch, we get our first coolish day around here. Those leaves start dropping just a little bit. It's like, okay, the mindset needs to change. So heading into fall for us, my big money makers are, well, people will want me to do their windows one more time. But the big one for me is eaves trough cleaning. And if you're like, Tim, what the hell are eaves troughs? Well, that's okay because you're not from where I'm from, but gutters. So gutter cleaning. And there is literally nothing more simple than cleaning gutters. If you have a ladder and a bucket and some hands, you can get up and you can make money doing it. There's a ton of different videos out there. Checking it out. I've done a couple in the past. But yes, if you're looking for, if you need a side hustle, anybody, lots of money to be made. But I think we did about 30 houses last year. So once kind of the 1st of October comes around, that's my 1 month between grass contracts and snow contracts. So yes, eaves trough cleaning, gutter cleaning is a big one for me. And fall yard cleanups, getting all the leaves put away before the winter snow sets in. So yeah, but as far as the cold weather goes, I mean, we've still got some 90-degree days coming up. I'm sure we will, but they're going to be few and far between pretty quick. 1st of September, we don't normally get snow in September, but it's absolutely possible up here and it won't last. But normally the 1st of November is when we can count on the snow and it's going to come and stay. But we've had an incredibly dry summer up here. The farmers are in rough shape. But part of that is the fact that the plants or the trees are shedding their leaves already. So I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I mean, I don't mind some cold weather coming. And I do love when snow weather comes along because I enjoy being out and working in the cold. But, hey, John, thanks for dropping by, buddy. It's nice to see you. We spent some time chatting about rechargeable batteries tonight and then went through some things I got on the go right now, but I was just asking everybody how the weather's been, what you guys are shaping up to get done this week. Any projects anybody's got on the go, always love hearing about that stuff. Always enjoy hearing about anything you guys are doing. Any products you got for recommendations for me as well, always love hearing about that stuff. But yeah, and we got a busy week coming up, but it's going to be a short week for me. 3 days, and then Thursday we're heading to the city. We're taking my twin daughters and we're taking my nephew with us, and we're going to go to, it's like an indoor theme park that's attached to the West Ed Mall, which is, I think the only mall that's bigger is the one in Minnesota, the Mall of America, I believe. Anyway, so indoor roller coaster, indoor water park, and it's going to be fun. I always love getting away and having a good time, but I've been working my ass off these last few days to get everything done so that I can take and head out. And our town has this big flower inspection. I can't even remember. Communities in Bloom it's called. So everybody's all excited about making sure their lawns look really good. So Tuesday, Wednesday this week, we're going to go through and do all of our lawns again, just so everybody can be happy. Hot the way I like it too. I like it, John. I do like it hot. Not like, I guess, what Marilyn Monroe say, some like it hot. But anyway, I enjoy the heat, and I normally do. And we normally have, on average, maybe 5 days above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So, maybe 5 days above 30 degrees Celsius any other summer. And this summer, we've had well over 30 of them. And I mean like weeks on end and into the 40s. Like we had one day that was up over 109, and for Canada on the prairies, 109, I think it was 109.4 Fahrenheit was disgusting. And it's, you know, in our days they stay hot up here too, like right into the nighttime. You go to bed and it's still, the other night there it was 9:30 at night and it was still 90 degrees out. So it, you know, yeah, I enjoy it to an extent, but I'm also built for the winter, so I really enjoy that. I love the money I make from the snow in the wintertime. I enjoy the maybe a little more flexible. There's a little more downtime as well, which is really cool. I always enjoy that. But yeah, I'm ready for the heat to be over with. Not wanting to complain because I'll take the heat if I can get it. And how hot was it there today, John? If you're still kicking around here. But it never got up above, I want to say 65 or 68 here today. So it was just perfect. It felt, I went mowing on the zero turn. I had to do a local commercial property wearing shorts, and I was almost just a little bit on the cool side. So, you know, whatever. I enjoy it. I like it. And I always love, there's just something about that, the swing in seasons. It reminds us that, hey, 91, okay, yeah, you can have it. No, not really, it's been there. It was there yesterday. It was there 2 days ago when I did the sod job. It was miserably hot and muggy. And of course, we got the wildfires that are British Columbia that are coming through here, making the whole town smell like campfire. I don't know if anybody else has had them. I know Amy Dingman mentioned in her podcast on Farmers Kind of Life that they had a ton of the smoke in Minnesota. So that means it's working its way east as well. Tulsa, right on. But yeah, so, but one thing that I find about these change in the seasons is it reminds us, hey, we got to finish up our jobs that we've maybe been putting off or haven't quite finished yet, like siding on the house, although I've got a couple months yet. But, you know, it's a good reminder of, hey, let's get our butt in gear, let's get things finished up, let's get things going. But it's also, my dad always used to say, a change is as good as a rest. And for me, of course, living in Canada, seasons are a way of life. They are that way everywhere. But I love the cyclical nature of seasons. It's like, okay, I've got 3 months of summer to get all this stuff done. Then I go into 3 months of fall, and then 17 months of winter, and then back to a month or two of spring, you know. But I enjoy it. There's like a cycle nature to life. You know, we get outside a lot here, but there's times when it gets really cold. Enid, Oklahoma. Yeah, I was going to say Joseph's in Oklahoma as well. So you guys are, is that right in Tornado Alley down that way somewhat? You know, I try to know my geography, but I'm not, I always know whenever I hear, seems like when I hear about tornadoes, they tend to be down in the Oklahoma area. But see, that's kind of cool. That's what I like, when we find out people are in the same state and maybe didn't even know it. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know, for us, it's a good, yeah, that's what I thought, John. You know, it's like asking a firefighter if they've been busy lately, but is this the time of year? I'm assuming it probably is, but has it been a fairly quiet twister season for you guys down there this year? Or sure aren't? Yeah, I kind of thought so. You know, we do have them up here, never as destructive as what you guys have. So it's almost not even, it's like when it snows around here, never. I like it when, yeah. I always remember, if you guys were ever King of the Hill fans, I used to love that show. And I remember, of course, that's in Texas, and they had a snow day there, and it was like maybe a 1/4 inch of wet snow, and there was accidents everywhere, and it was just the funniest thing. And I mean, I hate, you know, you don't want to, you know, laugh too much, but I mean, we literally drive on ice up here 4 months of the year. It gets cold enough that the plows can't scrape it up, and they just leave a nice sheet of ice, and it gets cold enough that the ice is sticky. So, you know, everybody lives in a different place. It's like me. Yeah, we got a few rattlesnakes south in Alberta once you cross the Red Deer River, but I'm not much for snakes, or especially even the idea of living where poisonous snakes are. So, you know, you live in a certain area, you get used to a certain way of life, and I suppose a feller could get used to it, but I love you, Charlotte. My daughter's in here tonight supporting me, and I always love having her by. I still can't quite figure out her name, Hyreth Tutorials or something like that. But if you guys see that, that strange girl in here with all the emojis and stuff, that's her. But yeah, so I don't know. I enjoy the change in weather. I've been kind of that's not weather, that's an emergency. Was that the cold you're talking about, John? Because yeah, it is. We had 2 winters ago, we had a 14-day stretch where the daytime high never got above minus 35. And you might say, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? It really don't matter at that point. But, you know, if something freezes, you can't get it thawed out at that point. It's just, it's disgusting. Like you try to fight it, you try to, I don't even know how to explain it, but if you can keep everything thawed and warm when it's that cold, it'll stay thawed. But if you lose the battle for a minute, you're done for a week. It's just, yeah. So when it gets to that point, you just try to hunker down and keep the drafts and everything out of places. You know, you have your heat trace tape on all your pipes. You have everything insulated as hard as you can. And then you try to build up. A lot of people here, if we get, the worst thing we can get is cold without any snow. If we get snow and it insulates the ground and people can pile it up around the outsides of their foundations, their homes, especially the mobile homes, that's the worst. I've got, I'm not sure, 3 or 4 mobile homes that I look after for property management. And it's, you know, I love them, but they're a pain in the ass to keep thawed out when it gets that cold. No matter what they do, even the newest, most insulated ones, you still end up fighting with that. And speaking of property management, I know if you guys ever see Tom on YouTube, he does a lot of commenting on there and over on the Facebook page as well. He's awesome. He runs a handyman business as well. Real busy dude. Anyway, he recommended to me an electric, I guess it's a battery powered lock picker, because I have had some troubles when I go to these bank properties that I have to secure. There's never anybody there. I only go when the houses have been abandoned, but I still have to drill a lock out or pick a lock or whatever. Anyway, I went to this beautiful McMansion the other day that I had to secure. And I thought, oh, I'm going to try they had double doors out onto the porch. They had 2 sets of them. I thought I'll just put a screwdriver in there, pry it open, and it'll pop right open. Well, they'd had those terrace door locks flipped down, so I couldn't get it there. Ended up having to drill it out. I was like a half an hour. So if you guys have any recommendations for, I'm still waiting on mine. I ordered one that Tom recommended. It looks like a little battery-powered skill screwdriver, and it comes with little adapters that you put on that go in depending on the type of lock. So I'm going to run, you know, once it eventually shows up. It's on a slow boat from China right now. When it does, you guys will see it. But I don't know if anybody else has any quicker, easier, neater ways to pick locks. I would love to see it, because I struggle with it. We had one we had to secure in a small town not long ago, and I broke off drill bit after drill bit, and the only one I could go through was this deadbolt, and it was reinforced, and it took way too long to do. I just end up wasting half the time it takes to secure a house to get the locks open. So always looking for suggestions there. But well, I think we have peaked. We've gone past our 45 minutes, guys. I don't know if anybody else had anything they wanted to share this week, or any questions or recommendations. You know, I'm always looking for products to review, video ideas. So if you have any ideas on emergency preparedness, backup power, I'm actually thinking, I've been mulling around in my head, but I almost kind of want to do maybe like a get started into preparedness, you know, water, food, heat, backup power, lighting, things like that, maybe like a 6 or 8 part series. So, I mean, I know a lot of us kind of know what we're doing already, but it never hurts to share what we know, because what I find is when I watch videos like that, even if, say it's a top 10 video, so say top 10 water filtration systems or something, I'm going to pull out of all of that. I might learn one little thing, but it's something I'm going to, a chainsaw is a great way to get through. Yes, that is true. A chainsaw works really well. Even my little DeWalt battery powered one would work really well. The only downside is sometimes people will call the cops if you're trying to open a door with a chainsaw. And also then I have to secure a hole in the wall, and then I have to explain to the bank property management company why I cut the hole in the wall. And I don't know. I mean, a truck would work too, right? Like hook onto it and pull the door open or drive through it or whatever, you know. But but yes, a chainsaw would absolutely be one, or a reciprocating saw. You guys will see later on this month, I got a review video coming up on those Liv, Alice, and Grace Key. I've got a reciprocating saw review video on the red Diablos that you saw, the pruning blades. And, you know, I will say they're okay. They're good. They're good for what they do. They do, yeah, exactly, right? They don't replace a chainsaw if you have a chainsaw, but if you don't have a chainsaw, they work great. So anyway, I don't want to spoil that review. Keep getting you guys to tune in and that sort of thing. Tomorrow, Monday morning Money Making Minute will be based on my experiences with the DeWalt warranty process. So I thought I would just share some thoughts on that. You guys will see it. One thing that's not in the video, after I finished filming it, I ended up, so you guys know, Chicken Hawk, you'll be interested in this too, but my 20 volt weed whipper from DeWalt, it ended up just dying one day. And they never sent back any paperwork on what happened, but they sent me a brand new one. The problem is, the brand new one has that shitty little DeWalt head on it again. When I sent it back, it had a little grass and stuff on it. I thought I'll just leave my my upgraded still head that I had on there. Well, they never sent it back to me. So now I'm stuck with one of them cheap DeWalt heads, and I got to get another still to replace it. And you're going to see a follow-up video this month as well on my 60 volt DeWalt trimmer, weed trimmer, and everything in that video, you'll see how much I love it, why I love it, that sort of thing. But that head, it hadn't started when I filmed the video, but it ended up, it's starting to disintegrate and fall apart as well. It works really well, but this one does anyway. It doesn't feed twine like the other one did constantly, where it was just spitting twine out 24/7 and I would run through it. So whatever it was, they fixed that part of it. But I think they literally make it out of whatever, if you take plastic and you take wet cardboard, so it's like one step above the fragility of wet cardboard is what they make those heads out of. Everything else on those weed whippers is top notch. They're awesome, but their heads are total complete shit. And they should be ashamed of themselves for it because, like, you guys know, how long have I had that 60 volt trimmer? Maybe 2 months. I've put a few hours on it, but not a ton. But that head is falling apart already. You can literally see through it. I wish I had it here to show you. But so if you're wondering, absolutely worth the investment. But DeWalt, number one, not that they're listening to us tonight, but they need to upgrade them damn heads and get yourself either a Husqvarna or a Still auto load head and upgrade it because it's definitely worth it. The thing's as good as gas. I love it, but the head is a problem. Excuse me. All right, guys. Well, it's been almost an hour. I went longer than I planned tonight. And my wife brought me home some hot chicken wings tonight. And it's almost 9 o'clock. And if I'm going to eat them, I better eat them soon before before I end up going to bed. And, well, you know, us old men and hot wings and that sort of thing late at night, never a good combination. But, all right, I think we will call her quits here. We're 53 minutes on the dot. Guys, you know, I always love you coming by and hanging out with me in the workshop, even if it's in the shop down here. I don't know if you guys, you don't mind the lime green background, but, oh, they are good. They're called Burnin' Betty's, and yeah, they're not as hot as some of them, but they are really good. Maybe I'll take a picture and post it for you, Joseph. But yeah, so yeah, you have a good night too, Joseph. I always appreciate you guys coming by. You know I do. This Sunday night live stream, I love it. I always try to have a theme for you guys, and I just love sitting and chatting with you. So anyway, guys, thanks for dropping by. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and how is it? Have a great week.